Gauteng Education MEC Matome Chiloane is visiting the family of the grade 11 pupil who was fatally stabbed in Vlakfontein. Now, this happened during a fight outside the school's premises. The school remained closed yesterday, and angry community members and parents have now vented their concerns. Pupils at the schools say this is not the first time this has happened at the school, and safety is a major issue there. We've got reporter Pule Jones, who is following the story. He joins us now. I understand, Pule, you have now moved from the school to the home of the family that was impacted by this tragedy. What kind of conversation will you be having with them now?
Yeah, definitely. We're still waiting for the MEC to arrive. Only a few members from the Gauteng Department of Education, or officials rather, have made their way here. So hopefully the MEC will be arriving anytime from now. We understand that he's running a bit late, but of course we also will be speaking to the family representatives in just a couple of minutes from now, because when we got here we were told they weren't available. So when they come back here, we'll have that opportunity to speak to them. But in the interim, we've made a plan to speak to the Gauteng Department of Education spokesperson Steve Mabona in relation to latest updates regarding the story. Steve, thank you very much for joining us. Now, when we got here at first, I think it was the father of the son we spoke to, or the elder brother. But we understand we'll be speaking to the other brother as well when he comes here. But during that family meeting, he was sad and sort of now wants to pin the blame on the school for having taken the younger one to a clinic instead of a hospital. There seems to be some sort of altercation, and there was a breakdown in communication as to what and how this child could have been saved when he was stabbed.
Yes, indeed. They are actually not happy on how the school managed the entire process of making sure that the learner reaches the clinic. The bone of contention is that why clinic, because the status quo at that time did not necessitated a need to go to a clinic, rather a medical facility with doctors and emergency services. Yeah, but sometimes it's difficult, in these situations. You know that the child was then taken by a private car to the nearby clinic. The emergency services, like as they said, was called, but the police were called. But you know that they indicated that there's network problems in this area. We don't know whether that played a major role. Well, we can't speak for the police and the emergency services, but that's their challenge. And the one thing that they are raising is that the school, there's some holes on the fence.
Yeah.
Where people just go in and out. Yeah. But you see, the problem is, the fence, because it's a concrete fence, it's been vandalized by the members of the community, who are told that they are using that concrete to build, ablution facilities, toilets, because they use that as a slab. So it becomes a challenge then for us as a department. Probably we must look forward to reviewing the way we fence the school. Probably we need to introduce a new mechanism.
How are you going to introduce a new mechanism? Because these community members are saying this is not the first time. It seems as though these gang-related incidents in this area are rife, and that, these pupils panic, matriculants writing their final exams as well. It's a concern for this community.
No, definitely. We'll be naive not to really review. Anything that does not work really must be reviewed. So, it's factual, because it has been replaced before, but then they keep on stealing it. So it means we must change the way we fence the school. So definitely we will put our heads together and interact with infrastructure, make sure that we really review the fencing of the school.
And pertaining to investigations, do we know how far you are? Have you been in contact with the police? And what is the way forward? Because we understand that it seems as though this are gang-related issues from this community, where some community members allege it's one grouping of the Zulu tribe against the other grouping of the Zulu tribe, who are against each other in this community. And this young man who was killed was allegedly just a victim. It seems as though he did nothing wrong.
Yes, it's quite sad that the victim actually was not even a gang member. So it's quite sad. But, what is happening in this community is quite sad. That's why we have advocated that as a community, community safety, education, social development. We need to come back to this community, interact, and try to enforce, law and order in this area. But the sooner we do that, the better, because we can't perpetually be seeing violence that is happening in and around our schools.
What is the MEC is expected to come here in just a few minutes from now. What is he going to do? What is the agenda looking like for the day? Yes, he's meeting the family, but will he be proposing any sort of counselling for them and any sort of measures with proper timelines to, rehabilitate what just happened there at the school as well?
Remember, MEC was away. He just came back yesterday, so that's why he felt that he must come to this family today. Just to convey his condolences. That's what we normally do in all the families that are bereaved, most especially, from our environment. So all other things they will put on the table. We'll normally give a family an opportunity to say what is it that they need assistance on. Where we can, as a department, we will do, but where we can utilize our stakeholders to assist the family, depending on how their requests are put on the table, then we are in a position to assist. That's why we will normally visit all these families to say to them they are not alone. We are here as a department to be with them, because this is our child. It's a learner, it's our child. We are also the bereaved. The psychosocial unit team is always extended to the families. When we ask them, do they need that? If they need it, then we extend it to them.
Mabona, thank you very much. That's the Gauteng Education spokesperson there, Steve Mabona, briefing us. And I think I'm just going to step out of shot. I think this is probably the MEC making his way here to the family. I just see the car coming in. I just need maybe a couple of minutes for just to try and speak to the MEC. I'm just going to ask my colleague Tami Chamane just to unmount his camera. Excuse me for the shaky visuals, just so we get a sort of a sentiment as to how the MEC feels around this whole situation here. Apologies for dragging this and for the shaky visuals. This is MEC Matome Chiloane, who we're going to speak into in a few moments from now, just to get a moment as to whether he will just say something to us and just tell us what will be the program going forward and what he aims to implement. MEC, thank you very much for joining us on ENC. I'm sorry I just ambushed you. You just got out of your car. But it's a very important matter. I'd spoken to Steve. You're here today. You're visiting the family. What can we expect, MEC?
No, we had to pass our condolences and really to share with the family that we do understand that this is not supposed to happen in our schools or to any learner. So it's important that we come here to ensure that they do have a sense that the department is really taken aback by what happened in that school to those learners, and obviously offer some form of support and comfort. Yeah.
Another death at a school. Clearly this is a concern as well in terms of what is happening in the schools in Gauteng. The DA says you need to now look into implementing safety measures, strict safety measures at schools. Is this something you'll be looking at when going back to a drawing board with your team?
No, definitely. School safety is at the top of our priority. We're intending to have a summit, obviously, that is to be able to assist us to come up with a practical program which involves parents, learners, community, educators, as well as the department in that collective partnership to ensure that our schools are safe. So that's something that we are busy with. I think they spoke very late. We've long started that process. And amongst other things, even here, to also take the community into confidence that the department understands and really shares the pain with them. So it is at the top of our immediate agenda.
Do you admit that you failed to protect pupils at these schools, particularly what we're seeing now? Just a few weeks ago, I was with you in one school in Ekurhuleni where a child was, allegedly beaten to death by an educator. Now we hear there's a child who's been stabbed to death as well. Would you say you're losing the fight against these criminal elements that are manifesting in these schools?
I don't recall an incident where a child was beaten to death at a school. All I know is that the incident was a child who collapsed in a class. So no child has ever been beaten to death. You make it sound that schools are a horror show, and they are not. They're actually a place of safety. Our schools are very safe. There are isolated incidences such as this. And it's not a problem of a school. It's a problem that emanates from outside the school premises, and it finds itself into the school premises. So that's why I'm saying that it needs to be a collective work. You know, the understanding is that also it's linked with gangsterism, and our schools don't harbor gangsters. You know, this type of behavior emanates from outside and then they filter in the school. That's why we need the community on board. So in terms of the fight, no, we're not losing any fight. Our schools are very safe. Our learners do go to school. And remember, our learner constituencies in their millions, and millions are still go to school and come back. So there are incidences such as this, and obviously it's one too many. You know, we don't want any of this to happen to any of our learners. You know, so of course we are worried. Hence we are here, amongst others. And two, we need to have a practical programmatic program to quickly curb and close these incidences so that they don't occur again.
Okay, MEC, I'll be with you throughout the day. Thank you very much for joining us. That's the MEC for Education, Matome, Chiloane, who joins us on ENCA this afternoon. I'm just going to ask my colleague, Tammy, just to pan on my left-hand side so you can see that we've now seen, community members who've now come out to see what is happening and just to pledge their solidarity to the family this afternoon. Just like the MEC says that, school is not a place of horror, but of safety. He admits that they're not losing the fight against some of these criminal elements that are manifesting within some of these communities, and he believes that there is, of course, a plan to ensure that school is a place of safety and learning for some of these pupils.
Kiana, absolutely interesting insights there. Bulele Treaty Jones, thank you for bringing us that update. Brilliant stroke of luck that he happened to drive in as you were conducting your live with us.